Welcome back into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller,
And my name's Brett Parnell.
and let's dive in. So, episode 4 of Survivor 50. What are your overall thoughts?
I know there's a lot of mixed thoughts online on this episode. I loved it.
Yeah, fantastic episode. Best blindside of the season so far, for
Yeah,
sure.
best blindside of the season so far for sure. And I mean, this was, I think, the first time, and you and I have talked about this pretty much the whole time we've done this podcast since we've just been in the new era. Rewards in the sanctuary tend to be so repetitive, and this was a sanctuary reward, but it was so different and such a big reward for 50 that could have never been done in any other season that it was amazing to see.
It was. And a lot of people have complaints, and we'll get to that because there's one of the complaints that I kind of understand where they're
Yeah,
coming from as far as how much of the episode it took up.
fair.
And the fact that Zac Brown got more confessionals than a chunk of the contestants on the cast. It wasn't
I mean,
edited
then
super
be more
great.
compelling TV.
Yeah,
We're still early in the season. Lots of
yeah.
players will get tons of confessionals more if they're good and if they stay around in the game.
People are complaining too much, but that one I at least understand.
Fair.
I'm intrigued to see the Mr. Beast episode.
Yeah,
I had one of his videos come up when I was scrolling the other day, so that was fun.
interesting.
If it happens again, I'll send it to you. I meant to
Sounds
look up one of his videos and send you.
sounds good.
So let's dive in. So coming back from the last tribal where Q got voted out, Stephanie tells us she's worried they'll blindside her next. And I wrote down that wouldn't be a blindside. That would be the obvious move.
Yeah, exactly.
What? Of course, you.
And if she's worried about it, then obviously it's not a blindside because she clearly knows that she's on the chopping block.
Yeah. We also see that Ozzy is kind of wary of the Angelina Mike Christian trio and pitches sending Angelina home next to Emily. And Emily agrees. Emily likes this plan because she's nervous that Christian has a relationship with them that he doesn't have with her.
Yeah,
Smart.
it is.
He ended up sending one of them home to save her, so kind of a misread, but
Kind of a
I'd have thought the
misread, but
same
I
thing.
mean, I would argue that 6 players on this beach are playing the game, and the only misreads are really coming from Emily, who's just creating chaos endlessly.
Which is weird because we know she has the we know she's smart. We know she can be a good player.
Yeah,
We did
but I
because of
think
her
there
get a
might be. I
great
mean,
gift from Christian this week though.
yes. In this tribe, and this is something I just thought of now, but when you said Emily can be a great player, but we're getting that misread. I'm almost wondering if maybe like Angelina was a character on her season. Ozzy is a big character in the history of Survivor. Emily was a big character in the new era. Maybe the fact that she's just missing her D is why she's struggling so much in the game, is that D just had complete control over that whole season.
True.
And in contrast with that, you're on a beach now where everyone is kind of on equal footing, and that might be something Emily's not used to.
So the solution is the players let D have control of this season also.
Or the solution is vote out Emily Flippin instead of Angelina or Ozzy next week.
Mm-mm. I like my idea better.
Both ideas could theoretically happen.
Yes, technically, D getting control the way she did in 45 is like 0.000,
Yeah.
like 10 zeros and a 1. Like, it could happen. We don't know. We can't see the future, but there's realistically no chance.
Yeah.
So, and I will say, we're sitting here saying Emily misread that because she sent one of them home to save her. I thought the same thing when Emily said that. Like, yeah, he has prior history with them. He and Mike have been friends for 7 years now. Like, that's an easy thing to misread.
Or at least know each other, because from what I've seen on social media, and this is kind of what I thought coming into the season, Mike and Angelina are an actual friendship. Mike and Christian, I don't think were that close compared to how close Mike is with, say, some other people on his season.
What I saw is Angelina was doing like answering questions on her Instagram during the episode. What I saw her say, someone asked her if her and Christian are still friends, and she said no, but they never really were. She's friends with Mike, and Mike was friends with Christian.
Oh, that could be it. That would make
So
sense.
Mike was kind of the bridge between those two, from what I understand.
Makes
But
sense.
did I don't know if he said this on the RHAP stuff, but I read the Mike White exit interview with Dalton Ross over at EW. Did you read
Yeah.
that?
No, I haven't yet.
Mike White and Christian have not spoken to each other
Oh,
since
yes, I
Tribal
did
that night.
see. I did hear about that.
That's crazy.
That is.
It makes me sad, but
It is. It's true. And I mean, based on, it's kind of funny that though that based on everything I've seen, it almost seems like that season is splitting into like Angelina and Mike and Kara and Alec are all still one group, and like we saw Davey and Christian and Gabby watching the episode. And then Nick, who won the season, is just in the Kentucky state legislature doing his job
yeah,
and
I
not
was
at
gonna
watch
say, and then
parties.
there's Nick, who, for political reasons, most of the fan base hates now, but
Yeah.
played a really good game his first season and an okay game his second season. Not
Yeah.
bad, nothing to get excited about.
Nothing to get excited about, but was way too starstruck by Tony. Because there was a point of the game where Nick and Michelle could have taken it over and gone to the end if Nick would have listened.
Yeah, which led to the great line after he didn't listen after a tribal where I think Jeremy goes, I was wondering if you were gonna have the to come talk to me
Yeah.
from her. But I will say this on the like David versus Goliath thing. Because one of the Instagram questions, and I screenshotted this, I saw this today, so I guess she was answering questions yesterday. Someone asked, is there tension between you and Christian? And Angelina's answer was, yes, I think the way he took out Mike is how you take out an enemy, not a good friend of 7 years. I understand eventually he would have needed to turn on him, but in my opinion, it was way too early and also not the best game choice.
Yeah.
Which
That makes.
we'll get
Especially not
into
when you
whether
have
it
a
was a good
numerical.
game move or not, because I'm not sure I agree with Angelina on that.
I
But
think it. Okay, well, we'll talk about that at the end because I have a lot of thoughts that might disagree with you then.
see, I'm torn. But there definitely was a Christian Mike friendship there
Yeah.
prior. But if you watch some of the pregame stuff, Christian also did come in saying, like, on our season, Mike wrote the narrative on me early. He made me a narrative threat. I want to write my own story, my own narrative this time, and not have Mike write it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was always a target on his radar,
Yeah.
which is understandable. Mike's White Lotus, money aside, Mike's a really good and really dangerous player.
Well, we'll talk more about that at the end, but right before we got voted out, I had a thought that I want to bring up.
All right, so we move on in the episode. Now that we've got the tea out of the way with David versus Goliath, I guess.
Yeah, that was hard to avoid.
Well, we were going to have to get into that at some point, and
I think we still will when it comes up.
I just can't believe they haven't talked since Tribal. That makes me sad.
Yeah.
Jonathan, we have Sela doing a talent show. And I missed Rizzo's act that I guess was before this. I was coffin or getting dinner or something. But my first note here is Jonathan and Charlie are pretending to battle each other.
This tribe seems, I don't know,
I
and
love it.
I love it too. I don't know how much negativity there actually is between Charlie and Rizzo, how much of it they're having fun, but this tribe is the most entertaining of the season so far. By far.
I have a note about Charlie and Rizzo that we'll get to at some point.
Okay.
But this tribe's talent show, they have judges. They gave first place to Rizzo, who, again, I missed what his act was, but it must have been good to beat out Jonathan and Charlie pretending to battle each
I know
other.
this. So Rizzo was doing impressions of Disney characters, and the one he did was Mickey Mouse. To which I was following the Chat BCC group that we're both in at the same time, and Sophie B commented, well, Rizzo is doing this impression of Mickey Mouse, to say Savannah and I had to listen to that impression of Mickey Mouse before bed for about 25 nights.
Kind of surprised CBS is able to air a Mickey Mouse impression.
That's a good point.
Disney owns ABC, not CBS. So
that is a great point.
But Rizzo wins that. Charlie's upset that he lost to Rizzo, and he calls Rizzo his mortal enemy. Rizzo has no idea that he's Charlie's mortal enemy. And this is my Rizzo Charlie note, is that Charlie is giving off Shambo vibes here.
Yeah.
Because on Survivor Samoa, you had this super one-sided beef where Shambo, great nickname by the way, could not stand Laura Moret, and Laura just did not reciprocate. May have not even had Shambo on her radar. Just super funny, one-sided, not funny, but super quirky, one-sided beef, and I feel like that's what we're getting here. Because Rizzo has no idea that this is a thing.
No, not at all.
This is Shambo all over again.
But I mean, based on the preview, and we'll talk about the preview next week when we're here, because it'll be in next week's episode, but I think Rizzo might be starting to pick up on it.
Yeah, he's gonna pick up on it, but right now, Charlie is giving Shambo vibes, is he not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bet you didn't think we'd have a Shambo from Samoa reference on our episode tonight.
No, I did not. I kind of forgot Shambo played Survivor for the longest time.
Such a good nickname, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's because her hair is a mullet, so it's I think Shannon is her real name, but she combined that with Rambo, because Stallone has a mullet in that movie.
And she's one of only 2 people to vote for Russell Hantz at Final Tribal Council.
Yeah. They were both in Samoa, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Her and Jonathan, Parvati's ex-husband.
Interesting. Speaking of, I was going through my saved posts on Instagram and just kind of clearing that out, and I went far enough back doing that a post came up of Tyson and Rachel were hanging out with Parvati and John.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, geez, how many years back did I scroll here?
I mean, that must be a long time, because in all honesty, I did not know that Parvati and Tyson were friends pre-Winners at War.
It was Winners at War after, but Winners at War is still 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, so that's Sela. They're having a blast. They're having talent shows. I love them. We go to Kahlo. Wearing my Kahlo buff, by the way. It came last week, and I forgot to wear it for the episode. So, also, you and the audience know what my favorite season of Survivor is Survivor China. My buff that I ordered of China came in last week, too.
Oh, nice.
Because CBS is selling some, retro buffs. They've got Fei Long from China. They've got Merge Tribe from Pearl Island, Merge Tribe from Borneo, which I almost got, too.
Wow.
It's really, and it's like the price of a regular buff. It's not if you go on eBay and look for old buffs, which is just insane.
You're telling me.
If you, audience, if you want to laugh, go on eBay and look up Survivor buffs from previous seasons. You will find them being sold for multiple hundreds of dollars,
I
depending on
saw a
the.
guy. This is just a fun story before we get back to the episode. But I saw a guy in Survivor Fan Jury maybe a year or so ago post, "My dad passed away and I'm clearing out his storage locker in his apartment. Can anybody tell me if these are worth anything?" And he had every single buff from every single tribe from season 1 to season 42 or something.
Jeez.
People are like, "You're gonna get like $20,000.
Just be like, no, no, that's junk. I can take that off your hands and get rid of that for you. That's terrible. The guy just
Yeah.
lost dad. I shouldn't joke like that, but it's funny. So,
Yeah.
oh well. That's hilarious. But yeah, old buffs sell for a lot of money. So when I saw CBS selling that China one, I'm like, ooh, man,
Yeah.
I still kind of want to go get that Borneo green one, but we'll see.
Nice.
So we go to Kahlo, and everyone's at camp. Coach is getting his hair braided because, why not?
It's Coach on a tropical island. I'm
So
sure he
far,
did that in the Amazon or in the Congo at one point in time.
So far, we've gotten Coach showing people his toe ring and letting someone try that on, and now Coach getting his hair braided. Coach at the shelter brings funny content.
And then we're about to see Coach at a country music concert.
But not everyone's at camp, Brett. Someone's missing.
That's right.
Where's Aubrey? Aubrey is idol hunting. And they realize that, and of course it's Genevieve, and because the edit's really building up this Aubrey versus Genevieve thing.
Yep.
Calling out her name, and Aubrey admittedly has a very funny confessional. She's like, "Of course it's Genevieve out here yelling my name like the Ricola commercial."
That was hilarious. The funny thing is, when that was said, I had no idea that Ricola commercials were on in USA before. So I was like, this is hilarious that they came up in Survivor.
Ricola.
My sister and I used to do that to each other when we were children.
Nice.
But speaking of idol hunting, Aubrey and Genevieve are both walking around in slightly separate areas.
And Genevieve finds another boomerang idol.
Canada 2, USA 0.
Well, for boomerang idols, if it's gold medals in hockey, it's 3-0 us. But, had to throw that out there. We don't get to do that very often, and in 4 years we won't have the chance anymore, maybe. So
yeah, you don't know. And the World Cup is in 2 years, and we're hosting it.
True. All the gold medals, but they couldn't let us be a host site for the World Cup of Hockey.
Nope. It's Alberta bound.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a song.
Okay. I didn't know that. I don't need to complain about the IIHF's weird, kind of dumb host choicing. Nothing wrong with the cities they chose, but put one in our country. We won all the gold. Genevieve finds another boomerang idol. This time she's keeping the fact that she found it to herself, which is smart.
Yes,
she's sending it to Rizzo because he does trust her and wouldn't expect that she'd be setting him up to get the idol back.
This is smart again, because with all of the chaos that's gone on all camps, I don't want to say it's likely to happen, but there's a decent chance that Genevieve walks into the first challenge next week with 2 idols in her pocket. After next week's episode.
Yeah.
Like, if both tribes that aren't her was to go to tribal council, and I'm going to assume that Genevieve's tribe will win immunity again because they seem to win every time.
Uh-huh.
There's a decent chance that Lizzo and Ozzy end up getting blindsided.
Yeah.
Maybe 5%.
So we go to the immunity challenge, and it's also for reward, and only first place gets it this time. And Probst starts doing his Probst thing, and he's introing the guest, and they're a super fan of the show. They reached out. This whole reward was their idea. Says they're huge in the world of country music, and we learned that Dee loves country music, which for
We
whatever
do.
reason would not have been my guess.
I would have not guessed that either.
But
So
here we are. And Probst does his intro thing, and the last line is, "We know one thing. He likes his chicken fried," which is like the Zac Brown band's biggest song. It's chicken
yeah,
fried. Everyone's heard that. So I thought that was fantastic.
I have used that in a couple of our Instagram stories in chicken episodes long before Zac Brown was ever going to appear on Survivor and before I even knew who Zac Brown was.
Yeah, everyone knows that. And I think, like, when he said we know he likes his chicken fried, they all started going nuts.
Yeah.
Probst, I'm pretty sure, said the next two lines also.
Yeah, he did.
But, like, that first line is all he needed to say.
That's right.
It's such a cool intro, iconic song that everyone knows. And so the reward is that he's coming out with them to the sanctuary and will spearfish for them and bring plantains and rice and sing some tunes
I
at the
think the first.
sanctuary where good things happen.
I
I
think
don't
the
know if
first.
Probst said that, but that's what I wrote it down because
Yeah,
that's what I call it.
that is what he said.
Okay.
I think the first time I heard the song Chicken Fried was not Zac Brown. It was actually the country band at the Texas Smokehouse on the cruise ship I go on. But just funny story.
Is that Norwegian Cruise Line's barbecue restaurant, I'm guessing?
That's right.
I almost said Royal Caribbean. I'm like, wait, no, it's Norwegian.
That's right.
Cruise lines.
It seems to be that there's a lot of times that I'll hear famous songs from somebody else. Like the first time I ever heard a song by Taylor Swift was my cousin singing Taylor Swift.
Oh, nice. And so this is a cool reward, whether you like country music or not. And I don't think people are complaining about the reward itself.
Yeah.
They're complaining that Zac Brown himself got 4 confessionals and we got a whole scene of him spearfishing.
And I get that. It, while I love the episode, I love the reward. Rewards did always used to be this long, so like it really wasn't any different than when Survivor players went to the Great Wall of China or Angkor Wat or the Colby and Jerry at the Great Barrier Reef. We've had rewards that took up this much time before when they're really big, unique rewards, and I loved watching that. But we could have probably got away with seeing Zach spearfish for like one fish, and then they go to the sanctuary, and then we would have got a few more minutes of Mike White and Christian.
Yeah, I don't think people are complaining about how long the reward itself took. It's how much of the screen time he got by himself.
Fair.
Because, like, with the Great Wall of China, like with Angkor Wat, like when we go to local towns or villages, that's still screen time on the players, confessionals of the players.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be.
Right.
But giving Zac Brown 4, I think, confessionals and spearfishing as long as we watched him spearfish was a bit much.
But it was hilarious to watch him spearfish with like a $10,000 spear gun as opposed to a Hawaiian sling.
Yeah, he brought his own stuff out. He brought
Yeah.
his own spear gun. He brought his own wetsuit. That's hilarious. You see
Though
that
I do
spear
want to
gun
go.
is worth $10,000?
I don't know. I'm just joking.
Probably not cheap.
Though I do want to go spearfishing at some point soon. Um, the lionfish is very invasive in the Caribbean, so in Mexico you can do Hawaiian sling scuba diving tours to help them preserve the ecosystem.
Does lionfish taste good?
Yes, it tastes good. It's extremely good in Mexican ceviche, but it's an invasive Asian species that is just destroying the Caribbean as we speak.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. Basically, the way that they got into the Caribbean was during Hurricane Andrew in Florida, aquariums broke.
Of course it's Florida.
And
Everything traces back to Florida when it's bizarre.
yep, you've
It's
been
so
sending me
funny.
a lot of funny videos about that state.
Oh, I love Florida. Both it's just weather-wise seems like a place I'd want to live, but just wildlife and their whole vibe is just absolutely bizarre, and they own it. So
If I was gonna move to anywhere in the U.S., it would be Miami. Shout out to Dee and Sophie's hometown.
yeah, so the challenge is fun. Teams dive into the water. They get everyone on a narrow platform. And once everyone is up, they work together to get a teammate high enough to untie these buckets that are high in the air. And I missed what comes after that, but somehow we end up swimming to the shore, I think, and pushing a boat full of puzzle pieces onto
Watching
the
this,
beach. And
watching these boats get emptied was, I mean, someone has to make a reference to it. Such a fun flashback to All Stars.
yeah, that's true. That's a good reference, actually. But we push these boats onto the beach under a net and assemble an arch word puzzle. And you know what my first thought with this arch puzzle was? Joe
Survi-
gets a chance for redemption.
True. My first thought was Survivor Australia.
Because the way the puzzle arch puzzle works is it has to spell the word on both sides.
That's right.
When Joe did this in 48 as an individual challenge, he had got fun betrayal on one side, spelled betrayal wrong, by the way. It was Betrale, which is not a word or a phrase that makes sense. And then the back of it wasn't anything. The back of it was just a collection of letters. So,
Which
comic.
is why I'll repeat again for these complicated Survivor puzzles. It's simple. Solve them on the ground first.
That's a good thought.
And then just boom, 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 boom. We're done.
Yeah.
Whoever wins immunity.
I also saw a clip on Twitter of when they did this challenge, this puzzle as a team challenge in 46. And Jessica was trying to hold the pieces up, but she was really short, and Banu was yelling at her for not holding them up well.
Yeah.
The new era has given us some straight up comedy on this puzzle.
It sure has.
But Carlo wins. Sela finishes second. Batu is going back to tribal again.
Back to tribal again.
And so next, we go to the sanctuary where good things happen. Which I would love for them to just have a sign up on that little hut that has that full moniker on it that says
That would be funny.
just fully embrace that name. I'm probably the only one that says the full thing every time, but it's funny.
I just wonder if I can ever find the abandoned sanctuary if I go to Fiji in a couple of years.
But it wouldn't be abandoned. They
It would
still
be
use
abandoned
it.
if they're not filming there.
I mean, yeah, but it's in the same place every season, I assume.
No, I know,
They
but
probably
that's what I
keep it
mean.
up.
Oh, I'm sure they keep it up.
So, but yeah, you probably could find it.
I bet. I'm going to try to. I
Carve
found
your
Edge of
initials and
Extinction
tiny
on
letters
Google
into the
Maps.
little hut. Don't actually do that. It's probably illegal. But
Yeah, I would imagine so. But I do have some funny stories about stuff hiding around there.
oh, nice. And we already talked about this, but this is where we get a lot of Zac Brown solo content that I don't mind as much as most people do, but I do get the complaint. Like
I thought this part was amazing.
it was fun.
I
I
mean, you're
liked it.
talking
I
about
understand why
what kind
people
of
did it, but I
promotion for
don't
the
agree.
show when 7 people, 6 Americans and 1 Canadian, are getting to experience something that if you were to rent Zach coming to play at a wedding or whatnot would be millions of dollars.
Yeah, I love the reward. I don't mind it, but I get the complaint of it's too much content spent on just him. If the
Sure.
players had been out there in the water with him, I think a lot of the complaints go away.
Yeah, I was confused why they weren't.
Everyone is. That's the issue, is that we got like 20 minutes of the episode is just him by himself.
But I gotta say, one thing we did see in the sanctuary, something that I did not know, but now I'm intrigued to try. Zach Brown has his own winery. That was cool.
Yeah.
To see them bring a person who came up with the idea for the reward having his own wine served on the reward.
And he caught, like, we probably watched him fish for too long, but he caught two giant fish.
Yeah.
And I love that he brought his own wetsuit and he brought his own spear gun. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Fancy freaking spear gun, by the way.
Was it ever?
So, when we get back, Coach tells us in a very coach way how good the ahi tuna was that Zach caught. He says he's been all around the world. He's had a lot of fresh fish. This is the best he's ever had. And he can't just say how good something is without like giving his credentials, can he?
My mind immediately went to, I'm sure Zach's fish is amazing, but Coach also said that Jack and Jill was one of the best movies he's ever seen, so I don't know if he's a credible source.
But like, have you noticed anytime he says how good something is, he has to give his credentials? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been all around the world. I've eaten all sorts of fresh fish.
Yes.
He, it's comical to me. Like, it just Coach is annoying and hilarious to me at the same time.
Yes, I agree.
And like, he was one of a few players coming into the season that we were wondering if we were going to get a different version of or the same version of. This is the same coach we've seen 3 times already, but just a slightly funnier version.
Yeah.
So we go to Vatu. No, we go to Sela because Dee is sad and she's talking about how even though they avoided tribal, missing out on this reward feels like a loss. Second place is not a win, that she came to take everything.
Which I loved because Dee is now saying the same thing as Dee's #1 fan does on Tribal Council chat.
Yeah.
Which is that win or go home.
Yeah.
That just brought me back to so many discussions we've had here. And one that I agree with you on too.
Of course you agree with me. I'm a genius. Just kidding. But yeah, that's kind of our Sela content for that scene, was just her saying that and that all or nothing mindset that I love, not satisfied with anything other than the best. We go to Vatu, and the first thing we see is people agreeing that Angelina seems to be the plan. Which, like, yeah, you have to take out one of those 3. That's obvious. But because you've got 3 people that have played together before and seem like they're friends or like a trio at that time. And when the next person goes, they'll have 3 out of 5. So one of the 3 of them had to go here in my mind.
Yeah, you're right. One of the 3 of them has to go. It's more. My only problem is how this decision was made, and I don't think it's helpful for the person who made it.
Interesting, and we'll get there. And I have a theory as to where that switch in his mind flipped fully. Because,
Yep.
like we said, based on some of the pregame stuff, Mike may have been a target for him coming in. But we also, I was just talking about how much that coach quote was so coach. We have a quote that is one of the most Aussie quotes I have ever heard, where he goes, "I want to go fishing for my tribe. I'm Aussie."
Yeah, we
That's
got
the
old
quote.
Ozzy back after 4 weeks.
What?
After 4 weeks, we eventually were bound to get old Ozzy back.
Oh, I think old Aussie is fully. I don't think he fully came back this week, but he's coming next week.
Though, if he's coming next week, then Genevieve's getting an idol the week after that.
He's coming next week because he's pissed off about Tribal this week, from what I can
Fair.
tell. Which
I
we'll
think
get
the
to that
second
with
we see,
Tribal and when we talk about the preview. But
I think the second we see old Ozzy again is the second Ozzy goes home.
but that's just such a good quote. I want to go fishing for my tribe. I'm Aussie, and something along the lines of I can fish too because Zach was going fishing, or it's just so him, and it made me smile. But we then see that Mike knows the plan is Angelina and doesn't like it because he's not sure he can trust anyone else the way he trusts her, which I get.
Right. Of course.
Like outside of the game, they're two like each other's some of their best friends.
Yeah.
So
I would assume from everything I've seen that Angelina is probably Mike's closest friend outside of Hollywood.
yeah, I mean, even their within their first season, they played together from day one to day 39.
Right.
So we learned that Mike wants to target Emily for that and like flip the plan off of Angelina onto her, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah. I think this was very smart from Mike's perspective. Ultimately, until the moment comes where the votes are read, I sat there and was saying this, and this is what I wanted to comment earlier on. When Mike does this, and especially when Mike talks to Christian, I said, Mike might be a multimillionaire who does not need to be playing this game right now, but Mike is playing an amazing game.
He is.
I think when I see what Mike says to Christian about Gabby, I'm like, he's right. Mike's playing the best game there.
And see, we'll get to that, but I think right there is where he overplayed his hand.
Interesting.
So Mike wants to target Emily. Christian tells us he doesn't want Emily to go. He's been working with her since the beginning. But the other option is Angelina, who's his compatriot from his first season, and he's kind of conflicted and doesn't know what to do. And you
And
kind of already hinted at your thoughts here, I think. But what is the right move for him there?
this is where, first of all, I start to get nervous if I'm Angelina. Because, like I said, I didn't think that they might be both DVG, but I didn't think that Angelina and Christian really ever saw eye to eye on that season or
I,
ever really played together. They seem to always be on opposite sides of votes, on opposite sides of advantages. So I'm not sure the level of trust is there.
yeah,
Now, last week we saw Christian give the slightest piece of information to Emily, and she blew it. And this week we saw Christian do it again, and what does Emily do?
she
Does it
half blew
again.
it.
Well,
She didn't reveal the plan. She just said Mike's gunning for me. That's not as bad as, hey, there's an idol. Here's who has it. Here's who told me about it.
fair, but my overall point is that Emily is, in my mind, I just mentioned that I thought before going into Tribal that Mike was playing one of the best games. I've been saying for the last couple weeks that if we were to power rank this, Emily would be on the bottom.
Interesting. I
I
would have
think
had
she's.
Steph on the bottom after last week.
Who?
Steph
Okay.
being the first person in Survivor history to be the one in a whatever to one vote and not go home.
Yeah.
I thought
I
that meant she was easy to go home next, but I've realized this week that makes her a free agent,
I
makes
think
her a
if we
vote that
were to
everyone wants.
I think if we were to sit down and come up with a list of, say, one sentence to describe each player's game after the first month of the season, this is how I would be describing Emily. Way out of her league.
Kind of. I think I would just say more loose lipped. I think she can hang with these guys. She just needs to slow down a little bit.
Fair enough.
Like think before you make moves and think before you say things.
But that's part of what makes there's the difference between an okay Survivor player and a great Survivor player.
So you're saying you think like the right move for Christian would have been to go with the Emily vote?
I think that would have been the right move for Christian. It would set him in a 3 versus 2 where Ozzy and Steph can go next when this group is inevitably going to lose until merge. It still opens him up to be a free agent to play with some other people at the merge if he decides to make this big move against Mike then. And it also would allow him to take out a liability, which in my view is Emily for him right now.
Kind of a liability, but it hasn't really cost him yet.
It hasn't in this group, but I think the longer that Christian stays with Emily, eventually it will cost him.
And that's someone that trusts you, which is hard to come by in this game.
That's fair.
My thought was this: vote if you're Christian. Voting out Angelina keeps your target a bit smaller. You keep someone who trusts you and Emily. Not that Angelina didn't, but they just weren't working together as close from day one. Getting rid of someone and making yourself look firmly part of this trio that's played together, even if Christian and the Goliath didn't see eye to eye their first season. That makes your target a lot bigger, actively keeping that trio together and voting out your day one ally to do it.
Okay.
I think from a threat level management, voting out Angelina was the right choice given these two options.
Interesting. I think when I watched what Christian's decision was this week to blindside Mike, huge blindside, but 2 words came to my mind. Denise Stapley.
What was it?
Denise Stapley.
True.
I think this was just way too early. It's a good move for Christian to make, but in my mind, I think he should do this at like 8, 9, maybe 10, because we're probably merging at like 12, I would guess. 11 would be fine. 12 would be fine. But I think that now Christian has taken out a big name player in the game, but Christian's also put himself in what's going to eventually end up as the minority, because if they have to go back to tribal council, if I'm advising Christian from the outside, I'm saying the first thing you better do is stand up and play this Billie Eilish thing, because Christian he sent it to Abu. He doesn't have one. Yeah. See, this is where this Billie Eilish idol gets confusing, is you going in your head who has one and who sent it, and is Genevieve going to be the most screwed over player by production since Sydney Segal? But
she screwed over though when she chose who to send it to.
No, it's just that she's done all the work and gets nothing for it.
Oh.
But that's
We've had idols before where you have to send it to someone though. That's not a new twist.
I guess.
Or at least like send half of it to someone.
Yeah, I have an idea of how I think they could make this better, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, my overall point is that now you will be in a situation, if you're a Christian, where Emily trusts you 100%.
Yeah.
But Emily is, in my mind, the weakest player in the game. Angelina will never trust you again. Based on what we saw at the end of this episode, Ozzy will never trust Christian again. Steph is now a free agent, and if you're Steph, do you want to be sitting as your core allies at the end of the game with Angelina and Ozzy to fight for and plead your case for $1 million, or against Christian?
I think if I'm Steph, I feel more confident. I I trust the Christian Emily side more. Just
Interesting. See, I'm looking at it from the other way, and I'm saying if I'm Steph, I can't beat Christian. I think that you have. I think in a season like 50, just like 40 before it with winners at war, these players are all so good. You have to be playing this like a top level soccer game, thinking 10 moves ahead.
yes, but episode 5 is a bit early to be thinking about who you're sitting. Like I think you just need to be thinking about who do I feel confident can get me to the next round with.
Fair.
Like Ozzy's Ozzy. It's a known commodity. Whether that's a good person to play with or not can be debated. You look at Angelina's first season, which, fair or not, that's what a lot of these people did and why she had a target on her.
Yeah.
She's kind of chaotic and all over the place. I don't think that's someone I'd be jumping out of the boat to work with and align with when Christian and Emily could have easily turned the vote on me, or like they chose to bring me in on this vote. I think I
Makes
stick
sense.
with them.
Now, I'm curious to know what you think about this. And I think this might be why we're not getting a ton of content the way we would have on David versus Goliath. I think Motherhood's made Angelina a completely different player.
I think she is, but I've noticed this and I've seen her comment on it. People came in with preconceived notions of her based on her first season.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Steph is thinking of that as a free agent here between two teams of two.
Fair.
But it's interesting because we're talking about voting out Angelina versus voting out Emily for Christian in the episode here. That doesn't happen, and here's where that switch happens: is Mike is selling really hard. Christian doesn't know what to do, and the thing, like Christian points this out later, Mike is really good at convincing and manipulating people into like going along with what he wants. Correct?
Yeah. Correct.
And so, whether the comparison is accurate or not, I feel like it probably is. He goes to Christian and says, "This is going to end up for you the same way Gabby did." Who, like, Gabby was his iconic day one alliance for in
Yep.
David versus Goliath, who tried to vote him out. And, like, I think whether that's accurate or not wasn't Mike's point. He knew
It is
that
a
would hit
hun-
Christian in the heart, and he
It is
figured that would sway him to his
100%
side.
accurate.
What?
It's 100% accurate.
It
Mike
is,
knew-
but I don't think that's the point. I don't think Mike was saying because it was true. I think he was saying because he knew it would hit Christian in the heart and figured that would bring him over to his side.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think both
think
of those
he
are true.
overplayed his hand because
Okay.
like Christian wasn't sure of what to do before that conversation. Right after we see that conversation is when we get a confessional where Christian tells us that Mike's Gabby comparison was a knife to the heart. And he says Mike is terrifying and super convincing and knows exactly where to hit you and what buttons to press to manipulate people. And he says, "I'm sure Mike feels safe and thinks I'm fully on board, but make no mistake, he is the most dangerous player on this or any island." Which, by the way, that's a really cool line.
Yeah.
Most dangerous player on this or any island. But I think, like, Christian wasn't sure. Then the Gabby conversation happens and he turned like that. Mike overplayed his hand with that.
Fair.
So Christian goes to Emily and goes to Steph and pitches getting rid of Mike in a 3-2-1. And his plan is to leave Ozzy out and do damage control because he says Ozzy's playing for a Mike for a White Lotus cameo, and that Ozzy would get skittish and might ruin the plan. Smart.
Yeah.
Damage control, I don't think is going to be a possible option for Christian based on leaving Tribal Council in the preview for next week.
Makes sense.
But, man, Christian turned on a dime here.
Yeah, he did. But that's why I'm concerned for him about damage control not being an option. Is that really the only thing he can do is just hope and pray that Steph wants to still work with him over Ozzy and Angelina?
Which I think is very possible. Just put the
It's
work in and
possible.
like get close to Steph. Show her you
Yeah.
want to work with her. You all you have to do is keep votes that you already had this round, and you have 3 out of 5.
Fair.
And if Ozzy's gonna get kicked off at the whole tribe and make a show about it, you have an easy target to point Steph
I
at.
was gonna say though, what at some point I feel like we're gonna have a second swap this season, and we've already seen Ozzy not afraid to speak his mind at Tribal.
Can we
Or
just do
not
game
at Tribal,
changers and
at
have like a
challenges.
million swaps for no reason?
I could easily see a situation where Ozzy decides to tell everybody in this game that um Christian voted out Mike at the next challenge.
Yeah, that'd be wild,
Yeah,
honestly.
because
And
Ozzy is
so
not happy.
after he talks to Steph, Christian tells that same plan to Emily, who doesn't want Ozzy to be left out because she's been building this bridge with Ozzy on the new tribe. Like they've formed a bit of a relationship now. And Emily was the one wanting him out multiple times on the original tribe, but here we are.
Yeah,
But she has no choice other than to go along because it's her neck on the line if this plan screws up. So
true.
then Ozzy comes walking up and she says, "Hey, Ozzy, Mike is gunning for me." Which it's not like she said, "Hey, the plan is Mike now." She didn't actually give away anything, but I get why Christian is frustrated here.
Yeah.
But we got the great. Do you see the GIF we got of Christian that's been all over the internet of like him like standing behind Ozzy, like doing the like
I
quiet,
haven't seen
the
it, but
zip
this would be
lips.
hilarious.
It's so good. And so he gave her quite a little death stare there. And I wrote down she may have just convinced Christian to vote her out because
Yeah.
he was not happy with her there.
Nope.
But again, I'm not sure that would have been a smart move, voting out your day one ally to cement yourself in a trio that has a target because it's a previous season trio. Going into tribal, though, my first note here, the tribe is all giving Ozzy props for some reason.
Yeah.
And Emily speaks up about how humble he is.
I
And
mean, I guess it's a different Ozzy than they expected.
I wrote down, though, I wonder if this is Emily softening the blow, knowing she's about to vote without telling him and
Yeah.
blindside him a little bit.
True.
So, do you have anything else like from the tribal chatter? I guess.
Not really anything from the chatter, just I think I've already talked about it, but Ozzy's reaction I feel is going to be notable going into the next episode and maybe the next few.
Yeah. So Mike goes home totally blindsided.
Totally blindsided.
We're getting up to leave camp. Chris leave for camp. Christian says, "I'll catch you up," and Ozzy goes, "Too late."
Yeah.
Then we get our preview for next week, and it looks like when they get back to camp, Ozzy makes it known to everyone that he's not happy.
That he does.
And I wrote down, old Ozzy is coming back next week. Like, that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. And I don't think that's good for Ozzy's game long term. Um, we'll see what happens. I mean, ultimately, I think on this tribe, like I said, everything's going to come down to Stephanie.
Which a week ago I thought she was dead in the water. So that shows how much I know.
Yeah.
I will say, draft update. We said we wanted to do better incorporating the draft into our episode. Mike goes home, was on my mom's team.
Yep,
Kyle Dorr now has the only team left fully intact.
that's true.
And
Kyle,
so
well,
mom's
well
in
done so
second.
far.
I'm in third. I don't remember what's in the middle. Kevin's in last. But Ozzy is on Kyle's team, so the rest of us might be catching up to him soon.
Yeah,
How are you liking the draft team so far?
I love it.
All
I
right.
think that all the draft just worked out really well. Like Kyle is running a very strong old school team, and then I have this dominant new era team, and everybody else is just somewhere in between.
My team's running pretty strong.
Yeah,
I have Steph, who's calling the who's the free agent deciding vote if they go back to tribal.
yeah,
Emily has Christian in her corner, saving her now. And Dee hasn't gone to tribal and wouldn't be a target if she did. So
yeah, exactly. And I have Jonathan, who's obviously not going to tribal anytime soon. Joe, who wouldn't probably be a target, and Rizzo, who's about to launch Operation because baby, now we got bad blood, and see if he can take out Charlie. So that's gonna be fun.
but what if he loses?
He
Because I'm
might,
not
and
convinced he's a better player or strategist than Charlie.
he very well might. And either way, I think they're both equal players. I
Yeah.
think this rivalry is just so comedic that I'm like, are these two trying to like end up on another season together or something? Like, I mean, that's probably how my mind works in Challenge World, but
It's the rivalry is funny to me right now because of how one-sided it is. We'll see what happens when Rizzo realizes it and it becomes not one-sided anymore.
yeah, I mean, Rizzo should realize it already, seeing he asked Charlie Davis about Maria Gonzalez.
That was just stupid. I don't need to go on about that. I did that enough when the week it happened. But good Lord,
Yeah,
Rizzo, what are you thinking there? But also, the three Kevin has left are Jen. He's got Jen and Tiffany and Chrissy, so he's sitting pretty well too.
yep. I think Kevin's way to win this game is going to be, will Jen get one of her idols back, if not both of them?
So full standings now. Kyle's in first, still with 0. My mom's in second with 20. I have 21. Brett has 22. Brett's dad, Steve, has 23. And Kevin has 24. Anyone can still win this, and there's
Anyone can
not
win.
a team that I look at and is like, oh, they're in trouble.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. All right. Your dad has Camilla, Christian, and Angelina. I'm a little worried for Angelina going forward, but like
Yeah.
the other two seem solid.
We didn't get anything in the preview. I think in my dad's team's case, he'll want him. It'll come down to, will Angelina survive the week? Because I feel like in 2 weeks we'll swap again.
Yeah. I am hoping New Calo goes to tribal because that's the tribe that none of my people are on.
Yeah.
So just let someone else lose someone. But yeah, do we want to jump into a line blindside first boot to round this out?
Sure, let's do it. I am going to give you a list of famous people that appeared on Survivor.
Okay.
So your options are blindsided this week, Mike White. From Survivor Philippines, Lisa Welchel. And why not? I'm going to put Zac Brown in a line blindside first boot.
Wow. Okay.
Who made an appearance on Survivor for like 30 minutes this week.
Well, I'll first boot Zac Brown because he seems nice, but I have no way of like being able to tell what kind of player he's going to be.
Okay.
It's Lisa Welchel and who else?
Mike White.
Yeah, I'm blindsiding Mike. because we seem to disagree on this, but I think Christian didn't make a bad move this week.
Okay.
So, and then that leads me to a line with Lisa, who's proven you can go to the end with her and win.
Nice.
Especially if you have someone on the jury that outs her as a famous actress, which I love Penner, but I hate that move.
Yeah.
Like, like that's just a cheap shot to me. I love Penner, but yeah,
Absolutely. I'm gonna first boot Lisa.
okay,
Um, I just know the least about her. I'm gonna blindside Mike. I think he would be a very strong player at the end, even though we've seen him lose. He so willingly admits that he didn't do as well in FTC as he could have, and I thought until he went, he was playing one of the best games here. And I'm
yeah,
going to align with Zac Brown, who I think would be someone who seems to would love the opportunity to play on maybe a charity season someday. Really knows this game, and I'll see what I get.
yeah. So because we got our first true blind side of the season. I'm giving you three people that were truly blindsided.
Okay.
You have from Survivor Micronesia, Ozzy Lust, who thought the Parvati Amanda alliance, Surrey alliance was working with him. And by then, that wasn't the alliance anymore, that they were with the Black Widows and sent him home.
Yep.
You have somebody that got blindsided that has played with your favorite Survivor player, Michelle, on the challenge, Michaela Bradshaw,
Interesting.
who got blindsided by another future challenger, Jay Starrett, who she turned to him and said, "Did you do this?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did it." Great moment.
Yep. Great
And
moment.
from 45, one of the new era's most iconic blindsides, Kelly Nalbandian.
Nice. I'm going to align with Kelly. I
Yeah,
think
that's
she's
smart.
probably the easiest person to trust in this group and the one who has the best social and strategic sense. Um, Ozzy and Michaela. This is interesting because my natural instinct, not knowing the players, would be to first boot Ozzy, who seems to be very overly competitive, and blindside Michaela, but work with her for a while. I think Michaela's a great player. Everything I hear from challengers is do not trust Michaela.
I just, I first booting her and uh, blindsiding Ozzy at the merge for two reasons.
Yeah.
Ozzy does a better job of keeping us away from tribal.
Okay.
I just don't think me and Michaela would be able to work together.
Yeah.
Like
I'm gonna.
personality wise, we're too different. I don't know if this is how she actually is. The edit makes her seem very confrontational, and that's just not my style.
And that was kind of what I was getting at. Even though that would be my sense watching, knowing that I've met so many people who themselves have been on reality TV, notably like Derek Chavez the other day, if you saw his Instagram story, Olivia, that I've just heard of people who have played in these games with Michaela not to trust her. That therefore it's probably a decision I'm going to make to keep Ozzy around for a bit, although that surprises me from if I was just to approach this with no info.
Kelly's also just so much the easy line here
Yeah,
because I just don't know how well I would work with either of the other two. But Kelly seems easy to get along with and work with. So
absolutely.
this is fun.
This was fun. We will be back next week. Um, Also, we'll be back with Roundtable Talk for a few special episodes when Kevin is free. And are you guys doing anything on Pit Stop Pals that you want to tell the audience about?
We are still in the process of rewatching season 16.
Okay, nice. I have been watching in relation to Roundtable Talk UK celebrity traders lately. But after that, I'm going to start watching season 1.
Nice.
So we'll get to season 1 soon. But before that, we want to do our fantasy cast that we talked about. We've just all been a little busy lately. But whenever the three of us are free, we'll do that. And it'll be a lot of fun to see what both predictions, but also hypothetical wants would be for the next season.
Yeah.
And with that, grab your torches and head back to camp. Good
Bye,
night.
everyone.
Bye.